What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. As y'all can see, today I have a special guest. This is my first time having an actual real life friend of mine come into my channel. For those of you that saw my video on my experiences with Black women, you guys remember that I talked about my crew from high school, and I did include a picture of my friend here. This is Whitney.
Hi.
She is half African American, half Indian from India, and she was a part of our multicultural little group of friends. So today we're just gonna I don't have like a set itinerary of questions. We're just gonna organically talk, but kind of keep the focus on like relationship type of stuff. So Whitney, do you want to kind of just give us a little intro about yourself?
Hi, my name is Whitney Washington. We've been friends for over 10 years now. But I'm very women empowerment driven, so I truly believe in women focusing on their own individual endeavors, especially while falling in love.
Yeah.
So I think that's what we're gonna.
Yes. So you mentioned earlier how like it's important for kind of like what you just said, even when women get into relationships, to like basically not lose sight of themselves. And I guess just to continue pursuing your own goals, right?
Right.
And because I think it's very easy for us, especially when we're like super in love, to get all wrapped up into our man and what he's doing and trying to support him
And wanting to please him so much.
Yeah.
That I think, like Christina said initially, it's just so important to have that. I call it lay down the law real quick. This is what I'm focused on. I like you, but this is what I'm focused on, and please don't deter me from it. If anything, just uplift me and support me with my personal endeavors. So.
Yeah, and I think that's a good quality to look for in a partner, to find a man that you can support him, but they'll also support you back.
Right.
And they won't feel, I guess, like intimidated also to see a woman that is driven and that has personal goals and things like that. Because I think there's another like side of it. Because I feel like some guys, they kind of want to maintain like that, I don't know, power kind of.
Yeah, and in my dating, I have come across a lot of men are intimidated by the fact that I am driven and I don't need you. Like, I want you, but I don't need you. And I'm very driven on my goals. I'm very focused on my personal endeavors. So in the beginning, I just try and say, like, this is what I'm focused on. Please don't deter me. And if anything, just uplift me. And it's hard to find because what I'm realizing is a lot of men are just wanting attention. And they're always like, when are you going to come see me? But they're not really focused or interested in my personal endeavors. So that's why I say just in the beginning, always lay down the law. This is what I'm focused on. And if he's motivated and if he's supporting you, then he's a good one. So
yeah, that's very true. And also, you're a single mom, just like me.
Yeah.
So that adds on like an additional layer to the complexity of dating, because it's like you have your own personal goals or whatever that you're focusing on, but then some guys, it's like they're either with the, you have a kid thing, or they're not. It can be
they'll stay there with it, and then like conveniently, like they forget. Like, what are you doing on a Tuesday at 1:00? So my daughter's in school. I'm working. So I think men. I think it's biological. A lot of men just conveniently forget. When you say that you have a daughter or you have a child, like, that comes with responsibilities. And so you kind of have to like let him know, like, hey, maybe you want to mark it in your calendar. I have my daughter Sunday to Thursday and I work a normal job. So you kind of have to teach them. You kind of have to be patient with them. But I mean, like I said, or like Christina said, it's very easy to just lose sight of what you're focusing on when you meet someone. You just want to like be in love and you just want it to work.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to kind of just set aside your personal goals. But if you can stay true to them throughout the relationship, and you guys can build and uplift and just feed off of each other, like that right there, I think is the ingredients to a healthy relationship. So. Valentine's Day is right around the corner.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Yeah. Also, I feel like we're both in our 30s now. We're both 30.
Oh my God.
30.
So we're old now.
Oh gosh. Well, I don't know. I want to keep saying I'm young. I don't know, but I mean, I feel old.
Drinking lots of water.
Yes, that is important. Even though I don't do that, but you should drink a lot of water.
Yeah.
Yeah. My knees. Oh man, I can't no more. I can't like stay at the club like I used to. But yeah. So we're like at that age right now, early 30s, where it's like we're in that middle ground between meeting guys that are still trying to live like they're in their 20s. And you know, they're not really trying to settle down. They're still just, you know,
they're in their 50s,
their best life, and you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But then there's like the other half that are actually trying to settle down.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, they're actually now starting to think about, you know, marriage and having families and this and that. But I feel like it's so hard though sometimes to find a guy that has that type of mentality, because some of them themselves are kind of like wishy-washy, like they want to settle down but they kind of don't. So it's just hard. It's hard to find someone, I don't know, that wants to settle down,
who will take you serious. Who will take you serious.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's certain questions to look out for, like initially when you're getting to know someone. He will ask you questions like, do you want more kids in the future? And how do you feel about marriage? Like, those are like ding, ding, ding questions. If he's asking you these questions, he's taking you serious. So if you find someone, and what I'm realizing is men between 27 and 30 are actually the men who are taking women more serious when it comes to commitment and settling down. It's hard to date older men just because they've gone through stuff and maybe it didn't work for them, and they're back at the going to the club phase and staying out. So it's very important to meet someone within a certain age range from your age who is focused on their personal endeavors too.
So that's actually a really interesting point, because I think a lot of women, we tend to think that if a guy is older, that automatically means that he is actually looking to settle down. And that, you know, he's looking for marriage and a serious relationship. But you brought up a good point in that, I guess based on what they've gone through, some of them do actually revert back to being in the club and just
complete opposite.
That's actually a really interesting point.
So I think regardless of the age, it's important to look out for those key questions that he's asking you that really show that he genuinely is into you and wants to get to know you for the long run. So
yeah. I also wanted to bring up, so one of my subscribers had recently requested that I talk about whether I believe guys and girls can be friends. So I'm just going to incorporate that into this discussion with her. So I am of the belief that guys and girls can actually be like best friends, and one of them doesn't necessarily want to sleep with the other. And I say that because I have a few friendships with guys that have been very long lasting, that I consider them to be like brothers, like legit. Like there's no romantic interest there, no sexual interest. Like we're legit, straight up friends. Like they're like my homies. Like if some stuff was to go down, I know I can call on you and you'd be there for me. But I know there's people that don't think that. They think that regardless, you know, opposite sex, like there's always going to be one that at least in the back of their mind, they've thought about sleeping with you, you know. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's hard to find a situation where a woman can be friends with a man and they're not involved. But I can speak from experience. My daughter's dad has a best friend who is a female, and they've been best friends for 10 years. They're business partners, and there was no love interest ever at all. So it is possible to be friends with the opposite sex without having like any interest at all. So I definitely say it's possible.
So I guess it just depends. It depends on the person. It depends on the friendship
and the situation.
Also, I think girls, we tend more to say it's possible, but it's interesting because I've heard more guys say that no,
it's not possible.
Like the guy, low key, he's thought about it at least once, you know, or they might slightly be interested.
Right. So I think it's rare to find, like, for a woman to say, I'm dating someone, a man who has a best friend who's a woman. And I think that situation is rare. But again, I was in that situation, and it's very possible, and I'm very close with the girl of the best friend. So it definitely depends on the people and the situation. So
yeah. Okay, so going back to the previous topic, we were talking earlier, and you mentioned about people or women kind of like embracing the struggle while they're trying to get to where they're trying to be at, and just kind of like reflecting on your personal experience with that. So do you want to like tell us like what are your thoughts on that?
Yes, the struggle. A lot of women, it's hard to embrace the struggle. When I say struggle, I mean like you're trying to figure out if you should pay your rent first or your car payment first, like that kind of struggle. We've all been there. We've all been, not all of us, but in repo status, but where you know exactly how many days you have to actually pay your car payment. But yeah, again, when it comes back to just being in relationships, don't be so quick to be in a relationship for financial gains, knowing that you won't have anything to worry about. Sometimes you have to embrace the struggle and just think about your end game. Know your current situation is not your final destination. But if you're strong enough and if you have that support system from friends and family, definitely get through the struggle to get to where you're going. I can speak from experience again with that. I want to say it takes 4 years, like a legit 4 years to kind of get through the process and get to where you need to be career-wise. And then from there, if you find someone or if you're with somebody who has supported you through the struggle, like that's even better.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and see, that's a good point too, because I mean, at least for me, sometimes I'm like, man, F this. I'm like, find me a sugar daddy that can take care of me.
All you have to do is this. All you have to be is my wife and clean the house.
Right. It's like so tempting sometimes to want to revert to that type of thinking. And like when you find yourself, especially me, because you know I have a freaking mortgage I have to pay, and I pay everything by myself.
Right.
I have my 2 daughters that, you know, I financially, like I take care of everything. Sometimes it just gets so overwhelming, and I'm like, yo, bump it. I'm about to find myself like an old man.
It's very overwhelming.
You know, just go pay my bills and just support me, sponsor me.
But you know what's crazy is there's one common denominator with relationships and with your bills: communication. As long as you're in consistent communication with your debt collectors, like you're good. Like they just need to hear from you. They need to hear that you are working towards paying whatever you need to pay. Just like in relationships, communication is key. As long as it's consistent and you guys are, you know, seeing eye to eye, you're on the same page, like you will be fine.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I feel like there's a lot of times there's also like a trade-off, because some women they do find that guy that can financially help them, and you know they don't have to worry about paying no bills, you know, they don't have to worry about being late on this or late on that. But at the same time, depending on that relationship and the type of man that he is, they might find themselves in situations where they lose their own personal freedom.
Right.
And like with a guy may like hang it over their head, like, you know, I'm paying this and paying that, like, you know, you should feel lucky that you have me and that I'm doing all this for you. So it's like you kind of have to choose sometimes. Do I want the financial freedom, or do I embrace the struggle, like you were saying, and continue to have my personal freedom and allow myself to grow through the struggles that I'm currently in, you know? And I think in the end, that's even more rewarding. When
it is. It takes time. It takes time. Yeah, it's not overnight. It's not. And I'm lucky to have like you and just good friends, even for moral support or just you need to talk. But it's not easy. And I'm not knocking like the women who are in relationships where they're financially stable, right? You know, the man is the breadwinner. There's nothing wrong with that situation. But if you're a woman who, you know, you have personal goals and you know you have your end game that you're working towards, it's just important to make sure that the man knows completely from the beginning, like, again, lay down that law and let him know, this is what I'm working on, let's work together, or and go from there. So
so the other day, you guys remember I did a video talking about the differences between a soulmate and a life partner. and how with a soulmate, a lot of times it's a very like passionate, it can be a lot of love, but a lot of pain, and how a lot of times you don't end up with your soulmates, but a lot of times a soulmate comes into your life to teach you something. However, with the life partner, it's more of like an emotional, intellectual connection that you have with them, and it's something where you guys are at a place in your life where you can actually build something long term. So what are your thoughts like on this whole either soulmate or life partner thing, and like and kind of tying that into marriage? Like, do you believe in any of that? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I feel like everything is a recipe, like a cake. So, I mean, the perfect person would be a little bit of everything. Like, a little soulmate, a little life partner, but I don't know if that's possible. But for me, I think when you think soulmate versus life partner just immediately is what I would revert to. I think it's very important to have that emotional connection and that physical and that spiritual connection with somebody, and that brings me to marriage. Marriage is such a beautiful thing when it's done right, and I think that a lot of people are tainted by societal pressures and views, and it's not really genuine for a lot of people who get married. So I think that when you feel confident that you're with your life partner through everything, marriage is going to be seamless and it's going to be done right. So that's my view on it.
Yeah, like I saw a post the other day saying most people are ready for a wedding, but they're not ready
the wedding
for
part, but not what comes with it. Like the wedding is a day, but the marriage is a lifetime. So
and honestly, I think even as like girls, like when you're a little girl, you dream of your wedding day. You like you think of like, oh my god, the dress I'm gonna wear, and who's gonna be my bridesmaids, and like the colors and blah blah blah. Like you focus so much on the actual wedding day, like the celebration, but you don't think about the whole rest of your life after that. You know,
with the same person and how things are gonna be and how it is a commitment.
Yes, it's a lot of people say it's a job.
Yes, it's like a business. A lot of people say it's a business transaction. A lot of people say that. But I think it's a little bit of everything. I think that you shouldn't feel pressure to get married just because of the percentages and what society says. I think if it feels natural and there's no pressure, there's no force, and both of you are on the same page equally, then I think that constitutes for the perfect recipe for marriage. So.
And see, I was always the kind of person, like growing up, I thought I was going to get married young. Like that was always my goal, get married young, be with this one guy forever, have my 8 or whatever kids. I used to want 8 kids.
Dominican.
Girl. Because I used to look at my grandma, my dad's mom, because she had 13. So I was like, well, if she had 13, I could have 8, you know? I see all these Dominicans doing that. But of course, that was like more the older generation, not so much anymore. I don't know what I was thinking. I have 2 now, and I'm like, I don't know if I want a 3rd. Okay.
Right. Yeah. I think I'm one and done with my girl. Yeah. It's a lot of work.
It is. But now, I don't know. I guess I don't feel like so much of that. Like, I mean, I want to get married. Like, don't get me wrong. I still dream with getting married. And I do still dream of my wedding day. I mean, you know, I don't want to lose that, I don't know, that dream, I guess. But I'm not, like, pressed on it either.
Right. Because knowing you have your personal endeavors and stuff.
Yeah. And just also, like, what I've been through the past couple years. Right. I mean, my subscribers know what happened. So it's a lot. So I'm definitely not rushing. Not rushing. Just trying to get married with my body and nothing like that.
Yeah.
Plus, I feel like low key, I've gotten a little used to being alone. Well, like living alone and all that.
And that's another thing. Once a woman is alone for a certain amount of time and just so independent, it does present a challenge in the dating field. So like I feel like right now, like I want someone to, you know, be with and all that, but like at the same time I've gotten so used to having my personal space. Yeah, like
it's like I want you to be calling me and giving me attention, but at the same time, like, but give me my space though.
Right. There has to be like a balance. Yeah, I'm getting to know someone new. It's very exciting. I'm actually very excited. But I just want to say be careful what you pray for. I prayed for I prayed for a man who was super consistent and just impeccable at communication, and that's what I got. So, like Christina said, I'm very used to my space. I'm very used to like going 6 to 8 hours without communicating with someone. Like, that's fine with me. Once in the morning, once at night, and we're good. But this guy, he loves to talk on the phone throughout the day, and hey, I'm not knocking that. So I appreciate it. So my prayers were answered. Thank you.
Yeah, because a lot of times it's like these dudes, like, you text them, you call them, they don't want to pick up. They take like 2 hours to answer a simple
leave you
text,
on red.
you know?
Like, you have no time for that.
It's like, bro, it's just simple text. Like, it takes 2 seconds to just
2 seconds.
Answer back.
That's another whole story. No one is too busy. Just know that.
I 100% believe that.
No one is too busy to call you or text you. So
if they don't, it's because they're simply not that interested in talking to you.
They are just not.
That's the reality of it.
Yeah.
So anyway. Hey, you should put that in the beginning.
Oh, should I?
As y'all can see now, there's some color there on the lips. Okay, so we're gonna quickly touch on this subject of recycling your exes. Okay, because that is something that a lot of people do, and I do know a couple of my personal friends that like they won't necessarily like get back with their ex. Well, some will, but they'll like go back to them like to mess with them or whatever because they don't want to add on to their body count and stuff like that. So now that is not something I've ever personally done, but again, I know people that do it. So what are your thoughts on that?
I've recycled before. It's crazy because with the new year 2020, I told myself I'm cutting off all communication with all my exes, but just within a month, all of them I'm somehow in communication.
Oh my gosh.
via text they're hitting me up, but I think it's like the energy of the universe. Once you move on, they come like that's just how it is. So,
it's like when you get into a relationship, and then
it's
all
like
of a sudden
it's like
you get all these people trying to hit you up, and trying to talk to you, like, where were you at?
Like where were you at? Why weren't you trying when I was trying with you? Like, but
yeah.
A good point, going back to the guy that I'm getting to know, the new one, he made a very good point. They're your ex for a reason.
True.
Whatever you guys could not work out is not going to work out the 5th, 6th, 7th time. So if you're going to go back, if you're going to recycle, just know what you're getting yourself into, but also know you're prohibiting yourself from meeting a really potential good guy. So just know what you're getting yourself into. Yeah, that's a good point. That you're ex for a reason. And I think after we've already broken up with them and everything's kind of settled down, sometimes we can find ourselves thinking to the good things that we experience with them, right?
And you start focusing on that and kind of forget why it didn't work out in the first place.
But also, as women, we think when we better ourselves, we're like, okay, now I can go back to an ex and make this work just because we've bettered ourselves. But that doesn't necessarily mean they've changed or they've evolved in that area that wasn't working out for y'all. So I think that's another thing. Just because you are doing better in your own individual life doesn't mean you're strong enough or should go back to your ex. So
that's a good point.
Keep moving.
True.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if it's like a situation where both of you guys were able to grow and evolve, then that could work. Because I mean, I've seen that happen too. Where like years later, a couple will come back together, they've both grown, and they're able to actually make it work the second time around. But that's not always the case.
It's very rare.
Yeah.
So I say no. It's 2020.
Yes, it is a new year. Time to start fresh, build new relationships. If you're not already in one, and just positive energy. I know you're really into like all this positive energy and stuff.
I just got into reading and studying on energy. It's very, very true that the energy that you put into the universe is going to be reciprocated. So just regardless of what you're going through, just know you know, life is too short. Just continue to keep going and with a positive attitude. So, yeah.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, y'all. Well, that was it for this video. As always, leave your thoughts and your comments down below. Let us know whether you're a guy or a girl, how you feel about some of the topics that we touched on, how you feel about if you're a woman, you know, remaining true to your personal goals and endeavors while being in a relationship, how you feel about the life partner, how you feel about going back to your exes and recycling them, as well as how you feel about, you know, maintaining this positive energy moving forward, you know, bringing that positivity into the new year
And laying down the law about your personal
too.
endeavors while in a relationship.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. Well, again, leave your comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll check you guys in the next video. Bye.